court meeting to order. Kenny?
Master King.
Here.
Master Barger.
Here.
Master Hughes.
Here.
Master Combs.
Here.
Judge Clark.
Yeah, here. Before we get into order business, I'd like the court's permission. We had a couple things that really just came up yesterday, and we didn't have time to get them in your packet, and I apologize for that. But I'd like to bring in the Wilderness Road project on a design contract and also award the bid on the turnout gear for the fire department. And Jim's ready with that. So if it's, I don't think we have to vote on it, but everybody's okay with it, I'd like to amend the agenda to include those two items.
Yeah, no problem.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go into treasurer's report. Glenna?
I passed out the report. This goes through 1/31/2013. Our total fund balance of all funds as of 12/31/2012 was $6,683,101.91. The fund balance on 1/31/2013 is $7,073,596.15. Approximately right now, we should be around 58% of our budget. Our general fund revenues are at 66.7%. Our expenditures are at 42.9%. Our road fund revenues are at 76.6%, and our expenditures are at 46.6%. Our jail fund revenues are at 67.4%, and our expenditures are at 62.9%. Our CSEP fund is at 21.2% revenues and 19.8% expenditures. And our 911 fund is at 53.6% revenues and 39.6% on expenditures. I passed out, left in your box last court, the quarterly report. If you all have any questions about this report or that report. And all these are public records, so if anyone would like a copy of any of these, they can see me in my office.
Good report.
Any questions? Not, thanks, Glenna. Okay, we'll go, did we have minutes of the last meeting? Yeah, we've got them. I think we left them all. You all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there are no discussion or changes, a motion would be in order to submit them as they are in your packets.
So moved.
Second.
Master King.
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. First on the agenda, and it's always my pleasure. Let's see, I see Phyllis sitting in the back. Phyllis is here to talk about our Children's Champion program that we've been doing every year for 13, 14 years, Phyllis?
16.
This will be 16. Time flies, Phyllis.
Time flies when you're having fun.
But we're so thankful that you've stayed involved in this, and it's just been an exciting program for the kids, and it gets them real interested in what they're doing and what we're trying to do. So, Phyllis, I'll turn it over to you for just.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, and I thank the county judge for allowing me to do this. All of you have your red packets that gives you information about our Children's Champion Month. First of all, our winner for the billboard contest this year was Tanner McIntosh from Daniel Boone. And this is the billboard that's going to be up in 3 places starting next week. And it says, "Be a Children's Champion and you'll be an all-star." And that's actually his mother and dad on there. As he explained to the newspaper when they interviewed him. We're very happy to be able to work with the different folks on our committee, which is on the bottom of your yellow sheet that's in your packet and that I've distributed as well. And that's with the health department, the county extension, and the libraries, and all of the resource center directors. And we put together a lot of different activities for your all's information about what's going on for children and to make our environments safe and healthy and happy for our children. So those are listed on the page for March activities. And some that I might talk about here is that we've got a car seat check that's in Berea on March the 4th at the Berea Head Start Center, and that's from 2:30 to 4:30. The Berea Parks Department is having a kids' night out on Friday, March the 8th, which is a great opportunity for kids there. The school staff appreciation is going to be at Chick-fil-A. They chipped in here and giving free cookies to the school staff on March the 12th. The library is doing an indoor petting zoo, but also Galaxy is helping out with their families by giving a family bowling day, $10 per lane, and that's on March the 17th. Those are some of the activities that are listed, but there's quite a few more. One of the big activities that's been worked on for several months has been the Rethink Spring Break, and that's through the College of Health Sciences at EKU, working with many different groups. And there's a week-long set of activities at Madison Central the last week in March, beginning with a health fair, the impaired driver prevention program, the vehicular and drug safety day, student performance, and I've included in your packet at least 2 of the flyers there on drugs and alcohol and electronic media safety for your all's information. Now, the legislature is in session, and since there's quite a few things that are important to the safety and environment of children, the Blueprint for Kentucky's Children has been placed in your packet as well, and that's from the Kentucky Youth Advocates. That information includes information about safety, human trafficking, what needs to be done about clean air in the state, different things about health and safety. And there's sheets behind there, fact sheets about each one of the items that are listed in your packet. But also, since our legislature's in session, there's a number of bills in regard to children and safety, and I've just included 3 summaries for you, and one is on school safety. Of course, all the problems that's been happening with crime prevention in schools is included. However, you can be assured that our school system is already ahead of the game. They're already doing some of the things that's going into law by the legislature. So there's one on school safety. There's one on human trafficking. That's a big issue. It's coming toward Kentucky, where there's more children that are involved in human trafficking. So there's a major bill in the Kentucky legislature. Representative Smart is one of the co-sponsors of that bill, and it will affect quite a few of our laws in Kentucky if it's passed. And then I've also included a summary of one about booster seats. The last part of your packet includes information about school readiness. There was an article in the newspaper last week in regard to school readiness, and that's just a summary so that you have some more information about that. That is also to make sure that our environments are very healthy and safe for our children so that they can be successful. And I think the actual billboard says it all when it says, be a children's champion and you'll be an all-star. And we all want to be all-stars, and just be a children's champion and you will be. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Phyllis. Any questions for Phyllis? She's officially retired, but she's probably doing more now than she was when she retired. And I will see you at Daniel Boone.
And I think, did you have the proclamation there?
Yeah.
Yes, I've got it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so
Let me read
much.
this. And as I said, 16 years, we've been participating with Children's Champions, and I get the great opportunity to go to the individual schools and
Yes.
present the award and just kind of talk to the kids a little bit about what it means to be a Children's Champion. I'm going to read this real quick. Madison County values every child and family, and whereas citizens need to care for children and support children's issues, programs, and activities, whereas organizations, businesses, hospitals, schools, churches, and service agencies should join forces to promote public awareness of keeping children drug and alcohol free. And whereas citizens throughout Madison County need to collaborate to ensure that every child has the type of environment at home, at school, at child care, and in the community that will promote healthy development and appropriate learning opportunities. And whereas our county is willing to demonstrate that children are our most important asset, now therefore I, Kent Clark, Madison County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim March 2012, is that supposed to be 13?
2013.
13, we've got a misspelling. We'll fix that, Phil.
Okay.
Be a children's champion in support of Children's Champions of Madison County, Richmond, Kentucky.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I will get this corrected, and I'll bring it to you when I come. Thanks, Phyllis. Next is Roma Bedeau with Red Cross, and we've got a proclamation for them also. Roma, it's good to see you. So,
And the rest of the council, on behalf of the Daniel Boone chapter of the American Red Cross, I want to thank Fiscal Court for your support of the Red Cross activities. I'm going to keep my remarks very, very short. Our chapter covers multiple counties, and I am told by our disaster coordinator that Madison County is one of the best counties to work with, and we consider the Red Cross a community partner in the prevention and in the response and in recovery of emergencies. The Red Cross actually has 3 roles, and they help to service military families. When a man or woman, one of our services, our troops are in crisis, the Red Cross steps in and helps that family here at home. We also work very strongly with our fire departments. Whenever there's a house fire, we help those families. And I will give kudos to our chief, because I am told by the Red Cross disaster coordinators at Madison County Fire Departments, they have it down and they work beautifully together in helping those families after suffering from a fire. And of course, sheltering. We have a number of churches and schools that work with the Red Cross to be shelters so that we are prepared whenever there is a disaster in Madison County. We are now in our Heroes campaign, a fundraising campaign for the Red Cross. So that will culminate in April, but March is Red Cross Month, and we just want to highlight the need and also the good work that our Daniel Boone chapter does. And we want to thank the Fiscal Court for your support.
Thanks, Roma. We appreciate you coming in. I'd like to read this proclamation, if you don't mind, real quick. Whereas March is American Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize and thank our heroes, those who volunteer, take life-saving courses, or provide financial donations to support an organization whose mission is to help those in need. And whereas in Madison County, the Red Cross works tirelessly through its employees and volunteers to help when disaster strikes, providing 24-hour support to members of the military, veterans and their families, and provides training in CPR, aquatic safety, and first aid. And whereas across the country, the Red Cross responds to nearly 70,000 disasters a year, it provides some 400,000 services to military members, veterans, and civilians, and trains more than 7 million people in first aid, water safety, and other life-saving skills every year. Whereas our community depends on the American Red Cross, which relies on the donations of time and money to fulfill its humanitarian mission. Despite these challenging economic times, the American Red Cross continues to offer help and comfort to those in need. Now, therefore, I, Kent Clark, Madison County Judge Executive in the Madison County Fiscal Court, by virtue of the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, do hereby proclaim March 2013 as American Red Cross Month, and I encourage citizens of Madison County to support this organization and its noble humanitarian mission. Thank you, Roma.
Thank you.
This. We appreciate you and all the people that work so hard to make it.
Thank you so much. Can we get a photo? Because I'm going to post it on the Daniel Boone chapter Facebook page, if that's all right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You want to do the whole fiscal court?
No, just you go ahead, Judge.
I'll just wait till later.
Just get your picture made and go on with it.
Thank you all very
Thank
much.
you.
Good to see you. Now, we've got a special guest, and I'm going to have to ask you all to amend because he had asked 2 weeks ago to be on this agenda, and Francette was busy and everybody was busy, but Craig Williams is here to give us an update on the chemical agent pilot plant. Jeff Brubaker's here also, and I think it's very important, so if the will of the court, is everybody okay with that?
Anytime.
Craig's been doing a whole lot of work. He comes in like on a semi-monthly basis and goes over everything with me, and we want to try to keep not only you all, but Richmond and Berea updated on what's going on, so if somebody asks you something, you know what to talk about. Craig?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, everyone. Appreciate you all taking the time, especially since the agenda didn't include this. I will try to be as brief as I can. But as the judge said, there's a lot going on. No,
I'm just kidding.
It's out of character for me. I'm trying. Let's see. Oops. Yeah. There we go. We're going to try to get through as much of this as possible here. Many of you may have read the op-ed that was in the paper, both here and in Lexington, about the project funding, so I want to get into that first. I've been saying for a long time, and I think people have finally recognized that in spite of the fact that we have the technology picked and the construction's well underway, that we have to remain vigilant in the context of congressional funding, particularly in the circumstances that we're in right now with the continuing resolution on all defense projects, which I'll explain in a moment, and the impending sequestration issues that face us. This project has to be focused on at the highest levels in both the Pentagon and Congress and in the executive branch, and that's what we've been doing, and thus far we've been successful. What I want to show you is the 2012 funding that was associated with the Bluegrass D-Mill plant, and I'd like you to compare that to the budget request for 2013. And it's obvious that it's almost doubled in the total, and particularly higher in the military construction area of funding, which is obviously critical to us since we're approximately 65% completed with construction. We don't want that to slow down now. Unfortunately, what has occurred is the Congress did not pass a budget for military construction for fiscal year 2013. So what that means is the project is only allowed to spend at the levels of the previous year. And again, if you go back and look at the levels of the previous year, particularly in Milcon, 59 million compared to 115 million. And in the totals, 222 to 411, almost double. So the circumstances were that we didn't have enough money to continue moving forward at nearly the rate that the project has been projected to move forward at. And so that resulted in a shortfall of approximately $43 million for military construction alone at this plant for the first 6 months of 2013. The Pentagon requested from the Executive's Branch Office of Management and Budget a plus up to that number. They gave them the allowable amount under the CR that they could, which was $7 million additional dollars, which still left us significantly short. I would say a coalition, if you will, of folks from the Pentagon here locally, the State Department. If you remember, we had the ambassador to visit us not too long ago from The Hague, where the treaty folks reside. And I have to say that that was a good move, because when it came time to work with the State Department, we had established a very good rapport with our ambassador to the treaty, and he was very helpful in weighing in on this request to the Pentagon to reprogram the balance, $36.4 million, from within the Pentagon's existing budget, rather than having to go back to Congress or back to OMB or anywhere else. Just find it inside the Pentagon's existing monies and put it towards this project. We began working on that as soon as last year's fiscal year ended in October, and that they, along with the Army and with Aqua, and with Kentucky's congressional delegation, particularly Hal Rogers on the House side and Senator McConnell on the Senate side, because even once it was approved inside the Pentagon, it still had to be approved by the chairman of the committees that had authority over the Pentagon's budget in order for it to be reprogrammed inside the Pentagon. We accomplished that as well. So what happened was we had the money sufficient to get through the first 6 months of the fiscal year 2013. But guess what? That ends the 28th of next month. And so now we're back in a similar situation although it's not as dire. As you can see, the shortfall is approximately 15 to 20 million this particular 6-month period under the CR. No one's expecting an appropriation budget to be passed. So this is what we're facing now. And what's the upside is we've got all the players on the field, and they've all been through this one time already. And we've got a very strong presence now in the State Department. The new Secretary of State is a colleague of many friends of mine and so on. And so we think we're going to be able to get this money reprogrammed or something done to continue to move forward with the project on an accelerated pace. That's the critical information that I wanted to bring so everyone knows that if the funding starts moving and shifting around, you understand what's going on, and if you have any questions about that, I can answer them momentarily. In the meantime, I wanted to show you the progress that's taken place. I'll be sending a memo to Francette shortly, inviting you all to take another tour of the facility if you're inclined to do so. This is the most recent photograph of the facility. You can see where some of the just from the previous one, over here's the pad for the filtration system that deals with all of the air inside the plant. And you can see there's just a few there, and that was just like a month ago or so. And you can see now that there's 2 more, and I'm not sure how many more are there, but they're moving along quite rapidly with the construction. And if the funding can be sustained, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. I know we will be. Our confidence is extremely high on the advisory board and the governor's commission on the execution of the project. So we're very comfortable with the technology. We're very comfortable with the leadership. We'd like to be a little more comfortable with the money. Another major undertaking that's going on is what's called rocket separation. The Chemical Materials Agency, which oversees the chemical activity on the site, different from the DMIL activity, the storage portion, has tasked the activity to separate some rockets in order to send the propellant section of the rockets back to New Jersey to analyze the stabilizer that's in the propellant, just to ensure that they have very current information on the storage condition of these rockets. Now, they already have samples back east, but they want samples from here because the conditions here under which the samples are stored, or the rockets are stored, is different from the way they store it back east. So they're going to take apart 44 rockets. They'll take them from an igloo, 3 at a time, overpacked, move them to a processing igloo, and they will unscrew the rocket at this juncture right here. They will repack the agent part, the warhead, put it back in storage. They'll overpack this section that has the propellant and the propellant stabilizer in it, overpack that, and then send it back to New Jersey to Picatinny Arsenal. Now, you don't have that photo in your packet, I'm afraid. I inadvertently left it out. 19 of these will actually stay here, so that Aqua, when it begins to get close to operations, will have a supply of rocket propellant that they can look at to analyze prior to going into operations. So they have the very, very latest information on the stability of the rocket propellant. Again, the warhead with the agent and the burster and all will be overpacked and put back into one of the igloos here at the chemical activity. So that is the status on that is that the permitting component of it is underway. Operations are expected to begin first quarter of next year, assuming there are no problems with getting the permit associated with that operation. And they had a public meeting about it. Public comments were submitted on February 19th. They didn't get very many comments. People seem to be comfortable with it. I know that the Secondary Waste Working Group and the Monitoring Working Group of the Citizens Advisory Board have met with Colonel Grice and his staff multiple times on this. They've been very transparent. very helpful in having everyone understand. We're about to make a formal recommendation up through the advisory board to the Colonel on this matter, and the draft recommendation is to please proceed with this with all due care. Now, we've talked about explosive detonation technology here before. I just wanted to remind you what it is. It deals with these 155 millimeter mustard projectiles. If you recall, the burster right in here has turned out to be difficult to extract in the experience that's taken place both at Tooele, Utah, at their site, at Anniston, Alabama, and so on. And so an alternative to removing that burster, draining the agent, and running it through the main facility has been proposed. And the proposed alternative has been explosive detonation technology, and I've explained it to you earlier, and here's some of the examples of what they look like. This final decision on whether or not to use EDT has not been made. Obviously, that means that the selection of which EDT to use has not been made. But again, if you recall, about a year ago or so, there was some articles in the paper about the Army plans to blow up chemical weapons or something, and people thought it was like out in a field someplace or whatever, but this is what they're talking about, is doing it in these explosive containment chambers. Economic impact currently, there's been $104 million spent with Kentucky companies, 63 million of it, 64 almost, probably by now, has been spent in Madison and surrounding counties. The local payroll to date is almost $400 million, about half, about $412 million is anticipated to be spent for the remainder of the project. Needless to say, in these economic times, with jobs being very precious and payroll taxes being very important for the sustaining of local governments, we're very happy to see that. And by getting the funds reprogrammed in the Pentagon, we were able to avert a significant layoff of workers at the project. And frankly, had we not been successful in that effort, speaking as an individual, I would say that the project would probably have come to a grinding halt sometime the end of next month or maybe in April sometime. So it was a very heavy lift to get the $7 million from OMB and to get the $36.4 million reprogrammed inside the Pentagon when everybody's scrambling for dollars was no easy task, I can assure you. But we were very successful in it, and we were very pleased with the outcome. And I think it's safe to say that it was timely, if not just in the nick of time. The current employment stats out there now, and what of course ties into the economic piece, there's over 1,000 people now working on this project. The vast majority of them are now here in Richmond, either at the plant or out at the mall, the old shopping mall where Aqua and Bechtel Parsons Bluegrass are located. So clearly, the numbers, if you recall, have shifted from being a small, relatively medium percentage here and a larger percentage off-site. They've shifted very much so towards the local location for the workers. And you can see, and as we ramp up towards systemization and operations, a lot of this craft will diminish, and the actual operational staff and systemization staff will come into play. Last time I was here, we talked a little bit about the economic impact study that I'm co-chairing with Dave Binge from Cumberland Valley National Bank. This thing is going quite well. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff, but just let me tell you, we're in phase 1 right now, which is a job loss aversion. We want to keep the people that are working there during operations, and when the plant is completed with its operations, we want to keep them here in Madison County or surrounding counties. We don't want them going back to wherever they came from. They're going to be very highly trained people for the most part. Engineers, computer experts, robotics experts, also laboratory workers, chemists, and so on. We'd like to keep as many of them here as possible. And also the infrastructure, which is phase 2 and phase 3, is what do we do with the plant once it's completed its mission? The projected value of the footprint of that plant, once everything's done, is $1.4 billion. So Madison County is going to be sitting here sometime in the future with a $1.4 billion facility and 1,000 highly trained workers. We don't want to wait till the last minute to try and figure out what do we do with that. We're well ahead of the curve here, unlike some other sites that didn't plan ahead, and suddenly they're trying to train people, and people are leaving, and they don't know what to do with the facility and so on. So we're working on that. That's taking a lot of my personal time and a lot of other folks too. The elements in phase 1 are as you see. Again, I won't go through them all, but that report, that first phase is due June of this year, and it's tracking pretty well. The study partners that are involved in this, the Central Kentucky Workforce Investment Board, which will be touring the facility, the executive committee will be touring it in May. The Bluegrass Area Development District, which is actually going to be the hands-on entity that produces the report. The Economic Development Working Group of the CDCAB and myself. Now, we have a lot of allies that are associated with the program as well, and you can see them listed here. This effort has gotten support up, down, and sideways, across ways, every which way. Every entity that we visited and brought forward this idea of getting ahead of this curve and trying to keep these jobs and have a valid and viable use for that infrastructure has joined us in full support, and things are moving forward, and we are looking at having phase 1 done by the deadline. We don't have the funding for phases 2 and 3 yet. We're working on it with the federal government in particular, but as everyone knows, things are not there are not a lot of funds available at the federal level now, and who knows what's going to happen after Friday. So, and there's some contact information, and I'll take any questions or any discussion that you folks have, and I appreciate your time. I know it was not as short as I tried to be, but there's a lot of information.
You did fine, Craig.
How many square feet is the basic plant?
Jeff?
Come on up, Jeff.
I don't have the square footage.
The main processing building, which we call the munitions demilitarization building, that's the building where the weapons will be disassembled and the agent and energetics neutralized. That's about 145,000 square feet. We will have a total of 11 process or support buildings, and the total square footage of all the buildings exceeds 330,000 square feet.
Is the work schedule about where you thought it would be?
We are, with the construction effort, we are actually right about on target with where we had planned to be. We just, within the last couple of weeks, completed the structural steel and most of the enclosure on the munitions demilitarization building. So we're now moving the project or transitioning the project from one that over the last 2.5 years had been largely focused on civil structural construction to one that is now moving indoors and is focusing heavily on electrical wiring and cable installation, and then piping to support the neutralization process. So right now we're on track. Obviously, with the funding situation and some of the uncertainty that exists there, we're watching that very closely as the dollars that have been requested for 2013 that Craig presented on his slide, just by that magnitude of the increase from 2012. This year, 2013, is supposed to be our heaviest year in terms of construction activity and progress. So with any, we are committed to maximize the progress made with whatever level of resources we do receive from Congress. But obviously, if we can get close to or equal to the amount that has been requested, that would give us the greatest chance of staying on track for this year.
That 1.4 billion he mentioned, is that the total construction cost for for what's going to end up being 330,000 square feet?
It is. That represents the capital cost to build those facilities. And of course, some of the early work started in the 2007, 2008 timeframe. That was primarily site preparation, site utilities, things like that. And then what I consider full out construction started in the 2009 and will proceed into the 2015 timeframe. That's our current estimate at this point.
Per square, that's a little bit more than a house, isn't it?
Just a little bit. In fact, Craig mentioned he was going to be providing an invite. I would strongly suggest that all of the magistrates come out and take the tour. It's an impressive facility. It is quite large, and we've got most of the process equipment now installed. So coming out and doing a tour in the next couple of months would be a good opportunity.
Thanks, Jeff. Any other questions for
Greg,
Jeff?
I think this question would be more for you, Wade, for what you were talking about a while ago. You probably can expect some kind of a slowdown, maybe, but do you ever envision that it could come to a halt? I mean, is there any way, anybody telling you that, you might get a slowdown?
Well, all indications are that the program has gained visibility at all the levels that are important, not only inside the Pentagon, but politically as well. For example, the program manager's status has now been elevated to a program executive officer, which is an elevation in the rank and in the prestige associated with the project. We are under an international treaty to complete this work, quote, in the shortest time possible, unquote, which was one of the reasons we got the State Department to contribute to the effort to continue the funding. The Congress giveth and the Congress taketh away. And at this point, it's they're putting the fund back in dysfunctional, so I don't know. But my prediction personally would be it would be a very difficult process to completely stop. It may slow down depending on the funding. I'm always optimistic that we can sustain it, and I think the further along we get, like Jeff said, this year was if you were to look at a graph of which year, from the very beginning to the very end, had the highest need for funding, it was 2013. And of course, they don't pass a budget in 2013. So we have to go through all of this contortions to try to keep it on track. I'm optimistic. Every year is a new adventure.
Right.
But we're all in sync on this thing, so I think that's very important.
Appreciate what you do.
I might add, and Craig doesn't like to talk a whole lot, but he has been one of the instrumental forces in getting that additional funding. Craig is really good friends with the ambassador at The Hague. He went last year to the meetings, and he's going back this year. And he got the ambassador, I think, involved maybe a little bit, and with the state and the Army and Aqua. And it was a partnership thing. And, you have to sit down and talk to him to find out every level that it has to go through and then come back and then go back again to get this. And I know the TV was running some stories on we might have to shut down, but our funding was already secured by Craig and a lot of other individuals' hard work in getting that additional $36 million to keep the show running on schedule. So
We don't want Jeff to go on unemployment.
no. So Craig, Jeff, we appreciate both of you. Craig's doing an outstanding job. Jeff's doing an outstanding job. And we're very fortunate here in Madison County to have people like this that are working for us and with us to make this just the safest facility and get this stuff over with. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, let's see. Next on the agenda, we've got, I think, appointment to the Madison County Cemetery Board. And at this time, I'd like the court's permission to reappoint Linda Ganner, as she is one of the original members of the Cemetery Board, and her term would expire January 1st of 2017.
Move.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Next, yes. Keith, is Keith there? Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Keith, as you all know, came back to help us out of a huge jam, and I kind of personally promised him that if he'd stay just a couple years, trained, get some people trained, and he's really worked at that, and I think we're really where we need to be. Keith feels very comfortable, but as you all know, we lost one of our control officers a month or two ago, and we need to replace him really bad, and then probably look at one other individual, and hopefully sometime late spring, early summer, Keith feels confident that the new group that we've got out there can do the right thing and run the animal shelter. So he's advertised, and he's come up, and Keith, I'll turn it over to you, because we advertise, it seems like, every 6 months. And, you know, it's hard to get somebody that you really feel like will do an excellent job. Keith?
I'd like to recommend Josh Allen Thomas for the position of Animal Control Officer. It starts out at $9.25 an hour. It is kind of an at-will thing until they go through their training. It's a 6-month probationary period, and it's customary after the 6-month probationary period and their training that they get a 75 cents an hour raise, so that'd bring them up to 10 once, if they can pass everything and they make it through the probationary period. And that's who I'd like to recommend at this time.
So move.
I'll second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes,
Yes.
Master Combs,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. Next, appointment of the road commissioner. This is a real intense job. They really probably go out once every 3 years. Yeah. But Marty Sizemore, he's very familiar with the county. He's been doing this along with Jimmy Markham since we really started doing this, and this comes into play when there's a controversy over a piece of property that might have to go to, comes to the court for a decision, or even goes upstairs. And Marty's been doing it, so I'd like the court's permission to reappoint Marty Sizemore to the road commissioner position. And I don't have the sheet on him, but it's oh, here it is. The appointment would expire February of 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Now we'll go into the amended agenda. Wilderness Trail. As you all know, Rita really worked hard with the governor and Don Pasley, the commissioner of rural and secondary roads. And when we received funding to build the new road off the bypass into the Cottle and Marshall school system, comes in there at the baseball field, we had a substantial amount of money left in that particular funding bill. So we started talking about it, and we hated to give it back if we could utilize it. So right now, we have signed an MOU with the state to retain those additional funds. And Leroy and I have been out several times, and what we need to do, we really don't need an engineer to do the whole road. We've got a couple of really bad spots. We've got 3 huge culverts that are going to have to be replaced or extended, plus another huge culvert. And then we've got, before you go over to the bridge, we've got a huge bank that we're working with the property owner. We need to really cut way back, take down, build the road up on the other side, as we need to build the road up going over one of those banks in the first part of the project. So Leroy and I felt like we really needed to get somebody on board just to draw up plans so we can advertise for bid for this project, so we just don't go and tell them, now you can do whatever you want there and you can do whatever you want there. So we've got definite stuff on paper so they can really give us a good bid on the project. So I'd like the court's permission to give Palmer Engineering the opportunity to go out there, and what they'll do is they'll survey the road they'll do a plat on it, and then show what needs to be done in these 3 or 4 critical areas that really need a lot of attention. A lot of the road is really in good shape. It'll just need additional rock and then the 3 inches of blacktop. So I'd like the court's permission to go on and let Palmer, so we can let this project sometime the end of March.
We got 50-foot right away through there.
No, 30.
55,000 what they're charging.
And if they did the project Totally, it would be about 130 to 140, and I told them we didn't have that money, that I just needed these particular places spec'd out to advertise for.
It'll come out of the money that we,
Yeah, it doesn't cost, this isn't costing the county a quarter. All the funding is coming from the
We're
state.
not changing the bridge on the other end, are we?
No, it's an 18-foot bridge. We built that brand-new bridge, when, Leroy, about 10, 12 years ago?
That area there collects a lot of water.
I know.
Really
And
needs
that's
good
what we're
drainage.
trying to alleviate, Roger. You know that big bank and all that goes over in? We want to cut it way back, slope it, build the road up on the McCord side, and then get that water on both sides of the road into the creek.
I make a motion, accept it.
second,
Master King?
yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. The other one, Chief, you want to come up just a second? And I think he's put together a graph for you on this, we got the small Homeland Security grant on the turnout gear, and Chief is advertised, and we talked about it at the last meeting, the bids were open, and you have had a chance to analyze these, Chief, and
Correct.
we'll listen to your recommendation.
My recommendation, we got 3 bids in, this all on time. My recommendation is from Bluegrass Fire, the Janesville gear. There's several reasons why I like that gear. It is the top of the line. For the money, I think that's the best bang for the buck. I can go in definition of why I like it if you want me to, or the packet may tell all you need to know.
Well, you've got it really laid out exactly why. What was the total of that grant?
26,000.
26? So how many will this buy? You're gonna use it all, I'm sure you use it all.
Yeah, I can get at least 12, 13, well, actually 13 sets, yeah.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes.
And I like the printout that you gave.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Judge, I've got a little report I can give for last year's, if that's okay. It won't take just a second.
That'd be all right.
I gave you guys a chart of the runs we had last year and such. Since you guys don't have a chart out there, I'll kind of let you know. We had 435 total fire calls in 2012. That's actually up a little bit from 2011. We had 51 structure fires, we had 51 structure fires in 2011 also. 23 vehicle fires and 34 grass forest fires. The other calls that we have would be EMS assist, clean up wrecks, things like that, false alarms. Some things that happened within the department that we're very excited about, tickled to death with. We was able to get 10 new Scott Air Packs. We got that through a Homeland Security grant. Of course, we got the grant this year for the turnout gear. Was able to refurbish a thermal imaging camera. Got it done really cheap. Made it brand new again, actually. We got a new mobile Cascade air system that we can take out on scene and have all the air to be able to refill our air cylinders at will.
I might add, Chief, that this is something that you all were in desperate need of. And
Correct.
Carl got 50% of the funding through FEMA, and the 3 governments split up the other half of it.
Heck of a deal on that.
It'll be used by all 3 fire departments.
Yes. Berea, Richmond, and Madison County will be using it. We'll use them on fire calls, and also if there is a CSEP accident, or even with training, we'll be able to use that system. We did refurbish the mobile safety trailer, which was a trailer we take around to the schools, churches to take kids through. The trailer give them a little bit of kitchen safety, bedroom safety, learn how to get out of a burning home. Of course, we have a couple more grants out we're hopefully to get. And one thing that's kind of dear to me, we wish Miss Adams hadn't left. It kind of went hand in hand with her. But we are part of the mentoring program with the middle schools. This year was a new grant that was given. It's actually through Berea. We actually go to, every 8th grader in Madison County has a mentor, and they went through and picked, what they call good mentors, and I'm very proud they came to me. But I'm in 3 schools. I go to Madison Middle, Caudle, and Clark Moore's. Some of my firefighters on shift 3 they go to Clark Moore's and Caudle also. And that's just something that we do that I think is very important. The kids do need, some of them do need a mentor, and I'm very proud to be part of that. And presently we have 15 co-ops. So we're doing pretty good on the manpower and such. So anybody got any questions about any of that?
Well, the mobile unit that you have that you take in different places is very impressive.
Yes.
I've seen it in action.
It is neat, yeah.
Kids really like it. And it does, it's very educational.
Yeah, I don't know that, I don't know, if you're getting much of an education at home when it comes to fire prevention, but, we are a fire department, and I see it's our responsibility to go out and do this, so, and that's a very handy tool. You can sit there and talk all day long, and they'll listen, but do they accept it, when you take
through
them.
that, they understand.
Exactly. And on a side note, Strider Deaver wanted me to let Madison County know that the Kentucky Forestry Division burn ban went into effect February 15th. It goes through April the 30th. You are not allowed to burn within 150 feet of a woods until after 6 p.m. So, any questions?
That's it. Thanks, Chief.
All right. Thank you.
All right, any other department heads? Wayne, Leroy, Scott? Yes, come on up, Teresa.
Just want to let everybody know, Josh and I have gotten together. We've had quite a few questions from some lawyers and things about the way our process works. March 29th, we're going to have a meeting held here in the fiscal courtroom. We're going to send out some memos of invitation to some of the attorneys, the sheriff's department, the fiscal court, some of the jail staff, pretrial, and other people who are involved in the process, county attorney's office, so we can kind of go over the process of how we work, what the rules are, why the rules are the way they are, why they have to go through the judges for everything they need. There appears to be some questions. Every time we turn around, the attorneys are calling us, and we're trying to tell them, we're only the key holders. We don't give permission. We don't say when to open the door and when to close the door. Only the judges can do that. We thought it'd make everything, get everybody up on the same page of what's going on and how the process is going thus far, and any recommendations somebody may have to make things even a little better. There's always a way to improve things.
What's the date on
Pardon?
it? What day was that?
March 29th.
What time?
Right now, we're looking at 11 o'clock.
Here?
Yes, sir.
How many we got out today on?
We have 43 on regular monitors and 7 on scrams.
I mean, you got in jail.
We're in the 250s. We're down a little bit.
That's better.
That's a good deal. All right, any other department heads? If not, we'll go into comments from magistrates. Greg?
Everything's going pretty good. I'm still on the kick on state roads and needing cleaned up. So I've talked with a few legislators and senators, and I hope we can maybe come to a cure on the problem of our state roads looking like landfills. I'd like the publics to take pride in our county, and if you got loose garbage in the back of your truck and driving down the road, conceal it and get rid of it at a garbage site instead of letting it scatter out. And a lot of the young people probably just driving down the road and says it don't bother nothing, throw it out. And some people throws out cans saying, well, there's people out collecting them. Well, come by and pick them up. But if we would take pride in our community, it'd sure make it look a lot better.
I noticed Tuesday they had about 15 out on the state picking up.
That's good.
Both sides.
And it's one of those never go away problems. And Greg, I know you have a problem with it, but it's just, I was by there when they just picked it up. It's been less than 6 weeks ago in front of Battlefield Farm from the golf course on 421 all the way around. And you could fill 2 dump trucks up with the trash when they come around that curve, and they just constantly just slinging her out. You just got to do the best you can, and Scott's doing an excellent job with his crew, and Doug is, and there's just so much you can do with just a very few people. And then of course we're in the winter, the weather, you can't put these people out in the rain or the snow or the ice or 20-degree weather. So hopefully, we'll get through this next bad spell and things will get a little bit better and we can get into it 100% on the trash pickup.
Well, you just don't see it as much in the summer because of the grass.
It'll be hid, yeah.
But when you come through that bush hog, you do.
Roger?
Just want to let everybody know the ferry's still operating, but we're short a man and still searching for one. It's tough to find somebody that can meet the Coast Guard regulations, but got to do something. We got to try to keep it open for less hours or whatever if we get to that point. But we're definitely short one man right now and could use two. We could use a part-time as well. So anybody's interested in applying, you can see me or George Dean. Just contact me and I can get you in touch with George Dean, my vice chair that takes care of that. But we've had some already apply, but as soon as they see the regulations and what's required of them, they're not interested. So kind of tough to find somebody. Other than that, Judge, everything's all right?
Good. Bill Ray?
We went to Frankfurt this past week, and legislature's in session. Couple of topics I'm particularly interested in is taxing districts, and it looks like that they are going to do. Hopefully, they're going to do something on increasing the transparency of taxing districts. And then I think today the hemp bill is before the House committee, and hopefully, I find there's a lot of misinformation on hemp, and even Bill Clinton recognized that hemp is essential for our national security in the case because it is such a versatile crop, and even if this thing passes in the House, nothing's going to happen until the federal government separates hemp from marijuana and distinguishes between those two crops. Nothing's going to happen, but we could be positioned to take advantage of a wondrous opportunity just by following through with this legislation, so we'll be ready, and hopefully that'll happen.
Okay. Larry?
Why would you single Bill Clinton out?
Well, because I know he's one of your favorite people.
He is. You're exactly right there. Judge, I really don't have anything, but as that battlefield yesterday, and you've probably been by, you've seen all the graffiti and stuff on the doors. I can't believe it's got to be someone that lives there close.
Well, we've cleaned it a couple times and we found the culprits, the kids that live over in the neighborhood. And we thought we had that problem taken care of, but apparently we've got some more kids that like to paint.
They're pretty good. They're good, but they already put that on something they could sell instead of a bathroom door.
But it's you can't monitor it all the time, Larry, and we try to drive through. I know I drive through going home, just
I do all the
look
time.
at things, but it's just, it's tough to do. But it's a shame that you've got a facility like that and, you invested so much money for all the people of the county, and you've got two or three that really don't care. They just don't care.
No, it's a pretty place, and I use it, I guess, as much as anybody. But other than that, Judge, I'm just glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. How about comments from the audience? Anybody? Yes, ma'am? Hello.
Hi, how are you all?
I'm fine.
I'm Anita Whitaker, and
Nita, you want to come up here, please? So everybody can hear you?
thank you. I'm Anita Whitaker. I'm with Community Trust Bank, and I'm the executive secretary to the market president, Tim Houck. I'm here on his behalf today. Inside of Community Trust Bank is a nonprofit organization called Gallery on Main. I hope all of you have had the chance to visit. It's a wonderful arts gallery. It's Richmond's first fine arts gallery, and it's been in operation for about 12 years and has featured many, I'd say hundreds of local and regional artists, and it's a wonderful place for them to showcase their artwork. And you all have given a very generous donation to the art gallery, and I'm just here to thank you all on behalf of the bank and Gallery on Main for making that contribution. It's a wonderful asset to our community, and they provide a lot of educational programs throughout the community, throughout the years, and a lot of great people that are working tremendously throughout the year to support the arts. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Anita. We appreciate you coming in. And tell your boss we appreciate him letting you have time off to come over and talk to us. Okay, no comments from audience. Next court date's March the 12th in Berea. Y'all want to mark your calendars, 9:30. Motion to pay claims and approve the transfers.
So move. Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Mr. Barger?
Yes.
Mr. Hughes? Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Thank everybody for coming out. We appreciate it. The more the merrier around here. And a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.